How are you?
Good.
Be better if it was warmer outside.
You know.
I'd like to welcome everybody to our May 21st, 2025 board meeting. Would you please stand for the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Take a motion to approve the abstract and the bills.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second. Motion by Sean, second by Tim. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, none. Motion to approve the minutes from the April 30th, 2025 meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Dale,
Second.
second by Sean. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, none. Public concerns.
I'm here to hear what's being said about taking water down Dingman Point.
I'm sorry?
I'm here for the discussion about what's gonna happen with water going down for Dingman Point.
Okay. Okay, probably Rob called our engineer and he's running about 15 minutes late.
Okay.
And he's gonna do a report on that.
Okay.
Okay? Which means, Andrew, we can start right off with you.
Okay, thank you. I sent an email and I just have some physical copies of the agreement that I had sent with the 3 exhibits, A, B, and C. So these are the official printed 2 copies here. I know that still, you just sent that to your legal counsel for review, so that's fine. If there's any questions, comments, concerns regarding the contract, just let me know. I know it's a lot it's impossible to really go through it all at the meeting here, but as you do go through it, if you have questions, just reach out to me. Okay. It's a standard AIA agreement, so a lot of the language in there is standard. There is also, I emailed you, it's not printed, but in the emailed version, there's an additions and deletions report at the end of the contract, which just basically explains what I added or deleted from the agreement. It's pretty kosher. I did include Exhibit A are the schematic drawings and budget, essentially, that we're scoping this project around. Exhibit B are additional basically hourly rates should we have additional services during the project, and then Exhibit C entails the supplemental service of acting as the representative or resident project rep on behalf of the town. So that's essentially on-site, in-field, somebody on-site every day, watching the contractors, executing change orders, field directives on the town's behalf. So those services you can read through in Exhibit C as a kind of an appendix to the contract. We did have, just to give you an idea too, we're budgeting the base bid of the project obviously at $5 million. We did, through the project, we had talked about 4 different alternates, which are really above and beyond what we had budgeted. So we based our design fee. Our design fee includes designing those alternates, even though you may not construct them. So when we looked at our design fee, we had to include the time and the resources necessary to design those alternates. That was the audio visual, the scoreboard, the LED lighting, replacing all the lighting throughout the existing rink, and then the real big one is the HVAC, replacing the HVAC in the existing arena with a new heating and cooling system. So, I believe those scopes are probably worth in the neighborhood of around 500,000 in total. And that's what we looked at for our design work, is designing that scope. Just wanted to explain that those alternates are included in the design.
Okay.
When do you need a signed document from us by? Sooner the better?
The sooner the better. I mean, I'm ready to, start and get into the process. 2-3 weeks is okay. It's not gonna kill our schedule. I think if it goes beyond a month, then all we're doing is just sliding our schedule back.
I'm just wondering if you can wait till our next meeting if we get, or if you can just hold a special meeting because.
No, I can. It may, like an October bid may be like an early November bid, but it's not gonna change our start. We might push the bid back a little bit because the design schedule will shift. But ultimately, we're still bidding it in the fall and potentially awarding, later this year or into early next year.
Yeah, if we
It's not gonna change our commencement date on starting the work next spring.
maybe we can make a motion for you to sign this, probably based on attorney
Andy's-
approval
yep,
tonight.
right.
That way, if
That's a good idea.
if he gives us an approval in a week, then we get it, then to you in a week. I think
Yeah.
we should do that, so we
Yeah.
don't,
Okay.
I agree with Sean on that.
sooner the better.
If you guys are good with that, then I'll take a motion.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that.
Motion by Sean, second by Dale, for me to sign the document after we receive attorney approval. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, none.
Okay.
Any more?
No, that's it. It's a big step in the project, really, to take this will take us right through bidding, and
Did we, at the village planning board,
we're gonna go there in June.
June? Okay.
Yeah, so we had talked about that at the last meeting.
Yep, okay.
We're gonna bring the seeker to them, plus submit a site plan review application in June.
Okay. Alright.
So,
I didn't see it
Sorry.
I didn't see it on the June 9th agenda for the planning board.
okay, that may just be a sketch plan review then, if we can't get I'll talk to Lee tomorrow.
Okay.
See if we can still get in as like an official approved meeting. It's not honestly a big deal to have final approval, like a vote from them in June. It could happen in July. It's just I wanna be in front of them sooner rather than later. I don't want it to go past July for sure.
Okay.
I can talk to them tomorrow and see if they can still
Yeah.
have room to get you in the June meeting.
Yeah, what are we at, the 21st today? I'd have to believe we can still have a public notice. All the documents are ready.
It's a 2-week advertising window.
Yeah, it's something I wouldn't have wanted to pull the trigger on it until we, move forward with this, of course, but I can call him tomorrow morning and,
I think I can ask Andy to to review this contract and give us an answer by the end of the week.
okay.
Okay?
No, that's fine. And I'll talk to Lee and see what our deadline would be on, actually hosting a public meeting.
Oh, that's right, I'm sorry, that's village planning, I'm talking about town, so you're
Yeah,
right.
this is village.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
because our meeting is the 9th, I don't know what their schedule is.
Okay. Yeah, I was like, oh boy, I was a little
Yeah,
concerned
yeah.
there, but, I think theirs is later, so we should be still
Yeah,
fine within the
okay.
deadline, but I don't wanna miss that deadline. I'd rather be there in June, review it. July's always a secondary meeting if we need it, but
Okay.
start the process in June, so. It'll be a busy summer. We'll, be a fun summer designing this thing
Yep.
through,
Yep.
so.
I'm gonna go back to public concerns, because we've got some people that just walked in. Any public concerns?
Nope.
No? Okay, good. That all, Andrew?
Yeah, that's it. Yep.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you guys, appreciate it. I'll be in touch, and just let me
Next is-
know whatever your council says,
Okay.
and if they have any comments, it's certainly, anything subject to revision, so.
Okay, thanks, Andrew.
Thanks, Drew.
Yep.
Next item is the assessor report, that's, on the website, and on everybody's Chromebooks also. And then we have the highway report with Zach.
Sweeping's all done. We started roadside mowing already. We've had the brush tractor out and about, hitting any necessary areas and any roads we plan on working on this summer. We've done some prep work on some of our road reconstruction, doing cutting shoulders and trees and necessary prep work ahead of that. All our trucks are finally back together. We ended up sandblasting and painting 2 trucks. We've been doing some hauling for the county. We've hauled a bunch of stone in for ourselves and prepping for starting road work. Greg and Bobby redid all the chicken grates for the Bay Fire Department. We have flags and banners up ahead of Memorial Day. We replaced a failed culvert on Gillette Road yesterday and maintaining the brush pit weekly. So that's all I have.
Zach and I were on the Creek Road today, and had some calls about the water and some pipes and a few other things, and we took a look at that. And I think, when Zach gets the truck back, then he can move the excavator, which you're hoping for this week. He's got some other things to do with that excavator too, but we will go to the Creek Road, and he's gotta clear out a couple areas that the pipes have gotten clogged up, or the beaver building their things there, so. That's all I know for that. The next item is the zoning report, the water report, and the sewer report. They're all on our website, the documents, and in your Chromebooks too. And next is the clerk report from Sandy.
I had 15 birth certificate requests, 19 death requests, 0 marriage licenses, 6 copies of marriage licenses, dog licenses, 9 of those, 3 transfer site permits and 1 landfill permit. All reports were sent to New York State and Jefferson County on time. $1,249.60 was turned over to the town in collection fees, and for conservation fees there was $8.32. Next Friday is the last day for property tax payment for the 3rd payment. Of course, anybody who didn't pay their 1st and 2nd, I can't take them anymore. After that, it will be turned over to Jefferson County. I've had no luck with G-Works. Working with Williamson to get them the spreadsheet with all the information, and I'm about halfway done. It should be completed by the end of next week. And I have not gotten back to Rob on the sewer ordinance, but it's on my list to get done. And Theresa has paid their capital payment for the Redwood Water District. And that's all I've got.
Thank you, Sandy. We'll skip over Rob Campany till he gets here. Resolution to accept the newly updated comprehensive plan on everybody's Chromebook here. I'll read it. Whereas the town of Alexandria adopted its original comprehensive plan in 2015 to guide land use development and community priorities in support of a shared long-term vision. And whereas the town has completed an updated comprehensive plan dated May 2025, which incorporates current conditions, public input, and emerging opportunities. And whereas the updated plan outlines practical strategies to strengthen the local economy, improve public spaces, preserve community character, and encourage civic pride and engagement. And whereas the 2025 comprehensive plan update serves not only as a visioning document, but also as a strategic action framework to guide investment, attract grant funding, and promote smart, cost-effective, and achievable growth. And whereas the town board conducted an online survey that received 129 responses and held 3 public meetings to ensure community involvement and review all feedback received. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Alexandria hereby adopts the comprehensive plan updated May 2025, which shall replace the 2015 comprehensive plan as the town's official roadmap for future planning and decision making. The foregoing resolution was offered by Councilman Sean Thomas and seconded by Councilman Tim Davidson, and was duly adopted as follows. Roll call, Sandy?
Supervisor Sweet?
Yes.
Councilman Davidson?
Yes.
Councilman Honeyman?
Yes.
Councilman Crane?
Yes.
Councilman Thomas?
Yes. And then the certification that Sandy will take care of is at the bottom. Okay. Decision on town hall bathroom renovations. We have the low quote. We're waiting to talk to the contractor. I met with him 2 times here, and he's all set to go. We ordered the materials. Everybody in the building has picked out the flooring. There's a sample of it out in the back hall, and we're waiting for that flooring to come in, and then he'll start on the project. Any questions? Number 4, Williamson Financial Budgeting Module, Utility Water Sewer Module, and the,
You did, at the last meeting, you were waiting to speak to him. Do you need to do a formal, acceptance of the bid?
right, that's right. Okay, thanks, Sandy. So I need an acceptance of the Olmsted General Construction bid for $2,400. Motion by Tim, second by Sean. Any discussion? We had 3 bids that went through the process that, as were required with our procurement policy, and we're choosing this bid. If there's no discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Purchase Williamson Financial Budgeting Module, Utility Water Sewer Module, and the Payroll Module. I need, permission to sign the document. We talked about this, we've gone ahead and, started working on the modules. Sandy's been working, as she said, on the utility module. I'll take a motion to, allow me to sign the agreement with Williamson. That agreement has been to our attorney and he's approved it. Motion by Tim,
I'll second.
second by Dale. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, none. Introduce amendment to the junk storage law.
If I could, before we go past that, did we completely close out with G-Works? Are we done, or just waiting for?
I had a conversation with them, I told them what we wanted to do and asked them to get back to me, and they have not.
Okay,
So we haven't closed out with you.
thanks.
You haven't heard anything from them, have you, Sandy?
Not a word.
Did they fold? Like, what's going on?
I did hear they're having trouble in upper management, and some new people had come in and had called, and I said, I was supposed to have my billing out a month ago, and I have gotten 0 questions answered, and I said, so I had to go back to my old software. Okay, we'll look into it. Okay, we'll look into it. Talked to 3 people.
So I talked to them on the phone, similar to what Sandy's saying, and they have all new management, a lot going on there, and I tried to get an answer from them as to what we could do or whatever as far as settling and getting a release. And he said he'd get back to me, and I haven't heard a word. But he did talk about all new management and so on. So something's definitely going on there. Okay, this amendment, I'll read the amendment. Whenever a notice or notice is referred to section 12X-7E hereof has been served upon owner or owners or occupants of the subject property to remove junk in accordance with this law, and such owners or occupants shall fail to comply with the requirements of such notice or notices within time provided therein, and following a hearing provided for in section 12X-10 hereof, or if the hearing has not been requested in accordance with section 12X-9 hereof, the town board or code enforcement may authorize entry upon the subject property for the purpose of cleaning up the junk which is the subject of the notice to comply set forth in section 12X-7E hereof, to be completed by the town. The cost thereof shall be paid out of general town funds to be appropriated by the town board for such purposes. Section 12X-10B, reimbursement for costs to constitute a lien. Should the town board or code enforcement officer authorize the work to be done, then the town department performing the work shall be reimbursed for the cost, including out-of-pocket administrative expense of the work performed or services rendered by direction of the town board or code enforcement officer as herein provided, by assessment and levy upon the property wherein such work was performed or such services rendered, and the expenses so assessed shall constitute a lien and charge on the real property on which it is levied until paid or otherwise satisfied or discharged, and shall be collected in the same manner at the same time as other town charges. That's all I have. So this is the introduction of the amendment to our junk law. Introducing it now, and we'll set a public hearing date for our next meeting. If that's okay with everybody?
Yep.
And we'll do that public hearing at 6 o'clock. Somebody have a date in front of them?
18th?
18th, yep, I think it's June 18th, yep. So we'll take a motion to set a public hearing for this amendment to the junk law on June 18th at 6 o'clock.
I make
Motion by Sean, second by Gene. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Okay, we're going on to new business.
You wanna skip back to Rob and take care of that?
Okay. Yep,
It's up
I'm
to you.
sorry.
Sorry I'm late. We'll take these in the order that Brent put them on the agenda.
We have a lady here that's interested in the Dingman Point, if you wanted to start with that.
Oh, sure. So, we talked about Dingman Point last time, and, you know, I explained the process by which you would authorize, me to do an evaluation, a report on what it would cost to do the, extend water, sewer, whichever it was, and then, you do a map of the service area and an estimated cost and an estimated user cost. And then you'd have a public hearing based on that. Before you do that, you know, we talked about having either a public meeting, to try to truly gauge the interest. And I mentioned a lot of times we, do a survey, a simple survey of the service area, right? That probably, you know, it's up to you, but it's kind of simple. We've got some sample survey forms that we can provide. You mail them out to the area of interest, then you can truly gauge whether or not it's, you know, there's enough support to move forward. Because to form a sewer or water district, by petition, you need at least 51% of the property owners and 51% of the resident voters to be in favor of it. So you gotta serve those two criteria. Or you have to have a referendum, right, and it's gotta pass by 51%. So either of those things obviously involve expense and time and money, so I think if you.
We had talked last time about just kind of
Having a public meeting.
putting it out there.
Putting it out there.
Seeing if someone wants to show up at our regular meeting and voice their support one way or another before we absorb an expense.
So I talked with Rob about doing a meeting and having a public meeting about that, and Rob felt that a survey would be better.
I think a survey gives you more concrete evidence. Yeah, that's all, it's data. A public meeting, you don't have numbers, right? So if you have a survey out there that say, are people willing to, because it's gonna cost some money, right? They're gonna have to pay an annual user fee. I think you have better data with a survey. That's my only point.
And that survey is just to gauge if we even want you to price it?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct, yeah.
Thank
It will have some basic questions, and this was for sewer or water?
Water.
Water.
Okay. A lot of times we have questions like, do you have problems with your existing water supply or well? Or is it contaminated? Is it low on yield? Because to fund something like this, you're gonna need grant money, and to justify grant money, you need to show them you have a problem, right, with the existing groundwater sources. Some basic questions, and then are they willing to pay a user fee in a range of, I don't know, what typical user fees are typically around, you know, $800 to $1,200 a year for most new water districts.
Yeah.
So, I think that's the big thing, right?
Is there a state maximum on that?
There is the comptroller publishes a median, a statewide median every year. I don't know what it is, and they send out a notice, I can look it up, it's been like $900 or so for water the last couple of years.
That's per year.
Is the statewide median.
Yep.
So, that's the big thing, right? A lot of people want water, a lot of people aren't willing to pay for it, so. I think they need to know if there's gonna be an expense. So that's my suggestion. Send out a simple survey, and try to gauge the support.
Are people entitled to keep their wells?
Usually, you can't interconnect a well with a public water supply.
Without
right?
an RPZ, right?
Even then, the health department
They won't.
won't allow it. They could keep a well if it was a totally separate system, like if they wanted to wash cars, water lawns, you could keep your well for that, but it cannot be interconnected in any way, shape, or form.
So there'd be no unrendered service, so you could, in other words, you couldn't drop a curb stop and then they don't opt in and so they don't have a line.
You could do that. You
Okay.
could do that, but they'd still be, it all depends on how you set up the ordinance, but every property owner that's benefited by the system, and and we've been through benefit, right? If you're benefited, you're benefited whether you're connected or not,
It's the
right?
opportunity cost, right?
It's a value, so you'd have to recoup, that property owner, even though they're not connected, they'd be responsible to pay the debt retirement on the capital cost, on the money you borrow.
That makes sense.
So, that's usually the way it rolls.
Sure.
How about O&M?
O&M, if they're not connected, right, and they're not using the water and the water plant, then the O&M is usually associated with a connected user, right? So you wouldn't charge them the O&M, but you charge them the capital debt retirement, which a lot of times is, you know, it could be easily half or more of the annual fee. It all depends on, you know, if you're gonna buy water from the village, which I'm assuming would be a reasonable alternative, right? They're gonna charge you per thousand. And if you don't have to pay for that water, then obviously you're not gonna charge a resident who's not connected.
So that means you need to know who's gonna hook up and who's not.
Absolutely.
Before you go very close, in order to do a financial
Yep.
estimate.
Well, the pipes in the ground are gonna be what they are, right, whether people are hooked up or not. So the water mains, fire hydrants, valves, the mainline cost will be determined. The lateral, you know, the inch service line from the main to the home, we try to get those funded, but we're not always successful. A lot of times, funding agencies, they'll fund the mains, but they won't fund the laterals. The laterals could be homeowner expense. In the case of a lot of districts, and I suspect this would be true here, where you have a lot of bedrock, water services are expensive, right? You're either gonna rock some or blast them, right? So it's not a $5,000 hookup. It could be 20 if you gotta shoot a line, you know, blast a line into a cottage or a home. So a lot of times, because of that hardship, we'll try to get it funded, but it's not a guarantee. So usually if you get the lateral connection funded, usually people want it if it's a rock connection, because down the road they realize they're not gonna wanna pay to have somebody come in and blast the service in for them. Or bury it shallow and have a heat tape that runs all the time, that would be their responsibility. So there's some ins and outs to the, you know, the price, but to answer your question, you could price it, you know, with everybody hooked up or with nobody hooked up, right?
Yep, okay.
I know, it's a long-winded answer, but it's complicated.
Okay.
Survey.
I think send out a survey, gauge the
Supply
wants
and
and who
demand.
doesn't, and then go from there.
That answer all your questions, ma'am?
I think so,
Good.
thank you.
Would you care sharing your opinion on it?
I am thinking, like, we all have a lot of salt right now. The water's
Right.
very salty right now, so we're all having to treat and everything. But I also know that with all the rock, it could get very costly to have the water run down there.
Right. Yeah, it's a tough little district.
It is. It is.
You know, and chloride, salt, about the only way you can handle that is reverse osmosis, right, RO system, so, which aren't cheap, but,
Well pumps aren't $400 anymore either.
no, they're more than that, so it's if people want it and are willing.
Okay.
And then the trick, even if people want it or are willing to pay for it, then the trick is to get it funded, right? And the funding for some of these districts, as we know, with some of our other infrastructure projects, there appears to be a lot of money out there, but the funding agencies are anywhere from 10 to 20 to 1 oversubscribed. They're only funding 5% of the projects that are truly out there. So you gotta have a damn good case, right, to appeal to the funding agencies, yeah.
I'll make a motion for him to put a survey out.
I'll second it.
Yep. Motion by Sean, second by Tim to do a survey for the Tickler Point Water District. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, none. Okay, Rob?
So I'll get a sample survey, I can circulate it, and then I'll work with Sandy.
I can get all the names and get it sent out to people to see, but
Okay.
Wait for it.
All right, so the Dingles Point Water Survey. Route 12 sewer, we haven't heard anything on our grant application back yet. I didn't contact the county, but I'll try to touch base with them and see when we might hear.
We're thinking July.
Yeah. I have not heard anything on that. Route 12, or Redwood Sewer Ordinance, I don't know if you had a chance.
I already told them, I haven't gotten to
Okay.
it, but it's on my list, it's on the list.
We're playing ball back and forth here.
Yep.
Sandy's, we
It's
talked
in
last.
in my court,
Yeah.
I'm trying.
Route 37 speed signs, Brent and I looked at the locations. I think we agreed they wanted the location of these speed signs in the front yards of people, and I think we're gonna not put them there, cause it doesn't make sense, so that's ongoing.
They want the speed signs to be within the state posted speed zone,
Right.
so that gives us a,
They wanted the speed signs down in the hamlet, which doesn't make sense. You wanna slow them down before they get into the houses, right?
Right.
Into the residential.
Yeah, they're in a decent spot
right now.
right now, I think.
Yeah, yeah, the one on the north side is right by
North
the
side's in
welcome
a
to
good
Redwood
spot,
sign,
yeah.
which is where we wanted to put this one. But it's just before the first 30-mile-an-hour zone speed,
No.
and you can't put it before. They wanted it after, but there's still room, there's a field there
Yeah.
from the welcome to Redwood
Yeah.
before the first house, so we're gonna
Yeah.
tell them we wanna put it there. And there's a 30-mile-an-hour speed limit sign there.
Yeah.
We'll put it in just after that, so. The last thing I had, or next to the last thing, the Swan Bay Culvert app, we agreed at the last meeting to go ahead, put the app together and send it in, so I've got that ready to go in to, the DEC, for the culvert installation.
So we'll need a motion by the board to allow me to sign the application.
Find the application, right.
Take a motion. Motion by Tim, second by
Gene?
Sean.
Gene, second.
Okay, I'm sorry. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, none.
Just a quick backstory, you know, we met with the DEC, we tried to solicit their input prior, we've called them, we've sent emails, and they're significantly bogged down in the application process right now. So there's a whole new process for wetland or stream bank disturbance permits now, including this, and where you have to first file a jurisdictional determination notice, right? And it's frozen up to DEC. So even if you build a garage, right, on your property, you're supposed to send in this jurisdictional determination form to the DEC to make sure it doesn't impact any wetlands, endangered species areas, whatever, okay? And they're supposed to look at that project, and they have 90 days to respond. If they don't respond in 90 days, then you have to send them a certified letter and tell them, we're going ahead with this project, because we haven't heard from you. And they have 10 business days to respond to that. That goes to Albany. If they don't respond to that, then you can move forward. But 9 times out of 10, if it's in a zone that could be considered a wetland or adjacent, 100 feet from a wetland, you're gonna get a comment back from Albany. So it takes 3.5 months, right?
That's
And we're dealing with this with a lot of towns and culvert replacement, right? So there's a special permit now for municipalities, it's called a general permit that covers ditch cleaning and culverts. And you gotta get jurisdictional permits on those, and it's covered by a GP or a general permit. But you still have to go through the jurisdictional determination and the general permit application. So, anyway, long and short of it, they're bogged down, we'll send this in, don't expect anything soon from them.
This is part of the DEC new amendment that came out January 1.
Correct, yep. Yeah, they aren't returning phone calls, they just swamp, you know, they created a monster, in my opinion. So anyway, that's here for you to sign.
Not everything?
I think the only other thing, Brent and I looked at the fields at Redwood.
Oh, yeah.
You wanna mention that?
Yeah.
Brent asked me to take a quick look at those athletic fields, you know, by the water tank and see what might be they're wet in the spring. It's been a wet spring. Could they use some work? Sure. It's how, I guess, how much money you wanna spend. You know, the outfields are uneven, they could, I mean, if you wanted to do a field like you did for a high school, you'd spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to strip it, which I don't really think is what you want. Those fields are used, what, 6 weeks, 8 weeks out of the year maybe? Could they use a little attention on the infield and maybe some topsoil in the outfield? Maybe some drain lines, you know, some 4-inch perforated pipe in a few areas to help them dry up quicker, because you do wanna let them on in the spring. That's when the youth programs are active, right? So I guess it's a matter of budget and how much you wanna spend.
I'd be curious to talk to Hunter Horton, cause they, I mean, they did quite a bit down at the school. I don't know what it cost, for the work that they did. I don't know if they dug the whole thing out either though, did they? Do you remember?
No, I don't. I know, well, they just redid the infield, but
Yeah.
when they did the mound and everything, they did a lot. It
Yeah.
was pretty extensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, they dig it all out, they bring in the special blend, sand clay mix.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is a Little League field, so it's a 60-foot base path field.
Yep.
And then there's a kind of a practice field opposite, right,
Yep.
that the infield is kind of grassed, and so, I mean, if you want a full reconstruction, that's fine, but it's money.
Yeah.
Maybe to do some upgrades, or maybe to apply the next round of recreation funds, maybe try to get some money through Parks and Rec to help offset some of those programs are usually 50-50, right? Maybe get some help, come up with a scope and a
I was
budget.
gonna say, we threw some numbers around when we talked about putting some drainage in and digging it out and putting some good stuff in with a membrane and all that, and I think you said that we could maybe do it, which we'd like to do some of it, or most of it in-house. You're talking about 20 grand.
Well, I mean, for material costs, maybe, you know, you're talking about trying to use local materials. Some of these infield materials are trucked in from out of state, right? So that's expensive. If you can get by with local materials, you're a lot further ahead. Doing some simple drainage, and if you do the work yourself.
So I guess what I'm getting at is that we need to look at the grant opportunities first of all, and then second of all, we need to talk about this and have some pricing in front of us at budget session.
Yeah.
Would it be worth just consulting with Hunter Horton on what he did for the
Sure.
ball? With the ball field, and just to pick his brain
Get some
on
ideas on what he thinks
what's
would
doable,
work.
he just did it.
Get some order of magnitude on cost, you know?
Right, to kinda give us an idea of scoping.
No, I think that's a
price-wise.
great idea.
Those fields are nice too, you did a nice job.
See, the problem,
Information, the better.
and
Yeah, right.
the problem with those fields is got about that much dirt over the bedrock, right? So a lot of times when I've done fields, you know, you'll put like agricultural drainage tile in, right? 4-inch perforated pipe on a 30-foot center, run it to a header, and then to a daylight it somewhere. And it really helps significantly, but I don't think you're gonna do that there, because you can't you gotta have some slope on those drain pipes, right? Yeah, I think the bedrock, until we dig a few holes and kind of see where the rock is, but that could be a detriment.
Talking to Jamie and some of the work that's been done up there already with some volunteers, that they put a fence in, and they did a few things.
The dugouts.
He was thinking the bedrock was 8 inches,
Yeah.
8 inches below the surface right now.
Years ago, I think, a contractor, did you say John Papin, or maybe one of the, I don't know, one of the local contractors put a drain line across the practice field, and you can see it in the top of the pipe showing in several areas, because they couldn't get it down. So the rock's a challenge.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, it's like building a race car. You wanna go fast, but how much do you wanna spend?
Exactly. No, right, that's a great point.
Yeah,
I'd say we reach out to Hunter Horton, kinda
I think that's a great idea.
consult him, kinda give us some left-right limits and what we can expect. Maybe there's, you know, hey, this is what you get for this price, this is what
Yeah.
you get for this price.
I mean, it's so recent too, so he should have.
Sure. The infield's always you know, it's a skinned infield, right? There's no grass on the infield, so that's where you want the right material, and you want it to drain, and you want the drainage. The outfield, you can probably
Right.
live with a little
Exactly.
not so great a
Yeah,
drainage.
especially Little League and stuff like that, I mean, the
Right.
key thing is the infield, if that's good,
It's not,
Can
at the
get by.
level of kids that are playing there,
Bingo.
I think you need to consider that, yeah.
I agree.
Okay.
The last thing I have is the CFA, the Consolidated Funding Application Round was announced today, or yesterday. So that's the next big round of grant applications due, July 30. So we'll need to get together at some point to determine what you wanna apply for. You know, we got a little time, but we should start planning now. Certainly the utility projects,
I mean, we've been working on Route 12 sewer, we've
Route
been
12
working
sewer
on
again, and when, of course, Redwood
Redwood.
still needs to work at the sewer and the water. We gotta pick one or the other. If we do HUD, we still have, you know, can apply for the CDBG funding through HUD, cause we did the income survey, we qualify.
Yeah.
So, we just need to go through, we don't need to do it now, but we should come up with a list. And,
Those are due when?
July 30th.
Where's that music coming from, Brent? Is that your soundtrack, or what the heck? Is it his office?
What is it?
The music in your office, you're jamming out to the oldies.
I heard Backstreet Boys earlier.
a while ago.
I knew it was your soundtrack after that.
How did you know it was them,
It's
Sean?
Alexa.
I grew up, that's my era.
Tell Alexa off.
I had no choice.
Still on your soundtrack?
I do have one other thing, Zach, we went kind of established where your corners
Yeah.
were. We also did kind of a rough wetland delineation, so I've got a map put together where you might be able to fit that, so.
Is that for the salt barn?
Yeah.
Was there anything, any updates on the Swan Howl, or is that in a holding pattern?
No, I haven't talked to B&L,
Ball's in their court, they're
yeah, they
putting together.
did the survey where, I think they had to do, they've gotta do a preliminary engineering report, but I don't know where they are. Let me reach out to them, and then I'll.
Yeah. And on Point Vivian, that Point Vivian culvert, is this something similar that we should do, or is it connected to the Swan Bay culvert? Remember when Dale, we talked about all those people up to Point Vivian with that culvert up there? And that we were tentatively
Yeah,
going.
it's all the
Point
same
Vivian's on
color.
one
Is it the
side,
same?
Swan
Yeah,
Bay's on
That's
the
the
other.
same one.
Yeah.
Okay, same culvert though.
Same culvert.
Alright, perfect,
Goes from Swan Bay to Point Vivian.
perfect.
Yep.
So are we still in a,
Refer to it just as one or the other from now on.
Right, yeah, no, it's a little confused, I just wanted to make sure there wasn't two culverts, and that we
So-
were applying the DEC to
right,
the one.
Yeah.
so we're waiting to hear back from
We
DEC.
got the permit put together, okay, it's an 80-page document, so Brent's gotta sign it in a bunch of areas, and it'll go into the DEC for review, so.
Just
And
wanted
then we'll
to
be in a
make sure it
holding
works
pattern.
better.
Yeah.
We already filed the jurisdictional determination for this one, we went ahead and filed it. We know you gotta have a permit, so we went ahead and prepared the permit application even before we heard back, cause we know the jurisdictional determination is gonna be positive, so.
Does that correlate with I remember you talking about an analyzer for the parts per million over there?
That's for the sewer plant, for the joint sewer,
Yeah, I thought that's what, I misunderstood.
yeah.
So that's ordered, or is it?
Yeah, that's ordered, that should be here within a week.
And that was ordered by Town of Orleans.
Town of Orleans taking it out of the sewer budget, yeah.
And that's a meter that's gonna monitor what's going on with the,
Hydrogen sulfide levels at the
With the
property
odors.
line between the campground and the sewer plant.
any more?
No, that's it, sorry.
Okay, not a problem.
Thanks, Rob.
Thanks.
When you be out, Mark, now, next week,
Yeah, that'd be better, I'll get out there Monday or Tuesday.
just give me a call.
Yep.
Thanks.
Yep.
Okay, next item is the resolution to open a trust and agency account at the Watertown Savings Banks, and this is part of our requirement for our new software from Williamson. Basically, we're just opening up a checking account, trust and agency it's called. The resolution I have is whereas the town board of the town of Alexandria desires to open a trust and agency checking account, and whereas the town board would like to open the account at Watertown Savings Bank. Now therefore be it resolved by the town board of the town of Alexandria that the town supervisor Brent Sweet is authorized to open a trust and agency checking account at the Watertown Savings Bank. The foregoing resolution was offered by Councilman Tim Davison, seconded by Gene Kring, and was duly adopted as follows. Sandy?
Supervisor Sweet?
Yes.
Councilman Davidson?
Yes.
Councilman Honeyman?
Yes.
Councilman Kring?
Yes.
Councilman Thomas?
Yes.
The next item is the zoning ordinance update by Tom Gardner. He's been working on that. I forwarded everybody, I think, his first two. He was just coming out of the definitions and actually starting to work on the ordinance. It's gonna be a long process. He's got 3 other people working with him, chairmen of the planning and zoning boards. And, like I said, that where we're at is in the paperwork that I forwarded you guys. Discussion on funding Redwood and Plessis communities for pole outlets and decorations. So I've met with Tim Helmer numerous times, and we picked the poles out to put these outlets on. These outlets will cost us about $56 a year. They'll be billed to our lighting districts. $56 to put them in, I'm sorry. And they're gonna have decorations. We're talking about buying decorations for Christmas or the holidays, and we're talking about decorations for the summer or July 4th. Looking to budget $5,000 for the outlets and for the decorations for this year, similar to the next item, which is the ABCIA beautification projects that we have participated in, and budgeting $5,000 for that also. Anybody have any discussion? If not, I'll take a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Tim, second by
Me.
Gene.
Sure.
And this is for the Redwood Plessis communities for pole outlets and decorations. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, none?
You mentioned the lighting districts on this.
Yes.
Those who are in the lighting district will ultimately be paying towards these,
Yep,
right?
yep.
So, I just think it's worth
That's a
saying
good
out
point.
loud, because,
Good point, because there's gonna be an electric bill that wasn't there before.
yeah, I don't think it's gonna be anything crazy at all. It's worth pointing out, because we've had questions and concerns on the lighting districts.
Yep.
Specifically in Redwood before, so, just think it's important to
Yep.
put that out there, but overall, I think it's a really positive thing, and it's a really good thing that, both Redwood and Plessis are also beneficiaries of a beautification, so,
Yeah.
it's nice.
I can agree to that,
Yep.
being right in pluses.
Yeah. And, also, the next item was the ABCIA beautification projects, to fund them for $5,000. I need a motion for that. Motion by Tim, second by Dale. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, none. Declare surplus. Now, a couple of these items I think we've done before, but now we've got a list of 6 items, right, Zach?
Yep.
And those items are the rink truck, the F-550, the gutter grates, the floating dock, the generator, the extra generator that's at the highway barn, and a road saw. So I'll take a motion to declare those surplus and put them on Auctions International. Motion by Sean, second by Tim. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, none. I've been talking with the zoning officer from the village, Lee Schimmel, and he's been in contact with Labella, and they would like to come up for free and do a seminar to any village and town people that would like to ask for speed reductions from the state of New York, or from, it would be from the state of New York. As everybody knows, we've applied for speed reductions on Route 37 and on Route 12. We've been turned down both times. The village has applied a couple places. They've been turned down. So Labella is willing to come up here at no charge and have a seminar, and they're gonna set a date and time to do that. Just kinda giving you guys some information on that.
Cool.
And, putting that out to the public.
Are they, a group that's successful with negotiating with the state?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. That's all for that item. My last item is town taxes, the grievance day schedule. It's been posted on our website, and there's an advertisement in this week's paper. It's next Tuesday, isn't it, Sandy?
Yes.
Next Tuesday from 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock.
4 to 8.
Is grievance day here at the town office. Just wanted to announce that, and that's all I have. Anybody have anything else?
I have a couple things. I forgot, sorry, during my report. Last week I went to the library, board meeting, and they're getting ready to send out a flyer to, for a fundraiser, much like the cemeteries and stuff do. And for the cemeteries, we always let them run their envelopes through the postage machine, and then we just can make their copies, and then I just charge them for what it costs us. Do I have your permission to do that for the library also?
Take a motion to allow that to happen for the library. Motion by Sean, or by Gene. Second by Tim. Any discussion?
Nope.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, none.
Okay, thank you.
I got a couple things here, just,
I have one more. Since we're gonna give AB, the flower people, all that money, can we ask them to plant some stuff up around here? Can we make it contingent that they help us look a little bit better? I'm more than willing to water and that stuff, but it'd be nice to have these rocks and stuff out here. There's no way you're ever gonna get anything that be in there and look nice, but if they gave us some big pots that were filled and we could try to do something up here.
Maybe, instead of making that contribution contingent, maybe we just look at that on our own.
Yep.
Like, let's just
That's a good
do
idea. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I walked by it tonight and looked at it, I agree, it's something that we should definitely take ownership and just, figure some beautification.
figure something out, but they would definitely be good consultants, I'm sure.
They're great at it.
Yep. Couple other things I just wanna announce, that we've had to apply for a governmentdomain.gov. Just got a letter back from the state of New York, ours has been accepted, and now it's, 4 to 6 weeks before the final stages that we will have.
So that's for our website?
It's for everything, everybody's email address, everybody's everything is gonna be .gov now.
Okay.
Yep, but the ones that are .org are still gonna go to through .gov, so we're not gonna have people we're not gonna get.
Yeah, okay.
6 months, baby.
And the last thing I have is, Zach's got all his road work, and then there's a sheet, I think I posted.
We got it today, I think.
Posted on the Chromebooks. And, we'd like to talk about a road tour. If everybody wants to do a road tour, we'll set up a date and a time.
Susan, thank you.
Somebody go ahead, when do you wanna do it?
You wanna do it after the next month's meeting or before then?
Probably before, cause she's gonna wanna start getting to work on stuff and deciding what roads she wants to do.
Well, we should've got it to us sooner so we could do it after
Waiting for New York State CHIPS money to give us $50 million extra.
Well, we got that, so why couldn't we do it after tonight's meeting?
I agree with Tim.
Thank
They just got it on Thursday night.
At least somebody was on my side.
Yep, I got your back, buddy.
I was just kidding, I mean, I'm good. You wanna do it next week? Let me check my schedule. Did you have a date in mind, Brett?
No, I did not.
Zach?
You gonna try to get Ronnie's van again?
You have one?
Preferably not Wednesday night next week, so.
I can't do Wednesday night, I can do Monday or Tuesday
And
night.
I can't do Tuesday or Thursday.
I can't do Tuesday or Monday.
That sounds like a golf week to me.
Wow.
This is my first week, this week I was pissed. I avoid missing too many of those.
I gotta say,
It's my fun night.
you gotta lose that average.
Would
think so.
With 0.
would June the 3rd work? That's the 3rd of June? The
No.
Tuesday?
No Tuesdays, Tim.
Monday, the 2nd?
Monday works for me.
Oh, Lordy, maybe.
Monday, the 2nd of June?
Yep.
Is that okay?
Make it that
You wanna
work.
do it at 5?
Whatever works for everybody else as far as the work.
Does next Thursday work?
Damn it. We're halfway there, man, if you wanna throw a monkey wrench in there.
The sooner the better. What, next Thursday? The 29th?
Killing me.
You're busy that night.
Yeah, I'm busy,
Okay.
but I don't have to be there.
Sounds like the 2nd of June.
Sounds like the 2nd of June.
Where are the private tours like, Zach? When can we schedule those? Like during the?
Whatever.
5 o'clock
Like,
on Monday.
maybe we can, you can take this one at a time.
Yeah, I don't have a regular cab truck, so.
Make a motion to do
the road tour at 5 o'clock on Monday, June 2nd.
Absolutely.
Motion by Gene and Tim.
What are we doing, it's the 2nd?
Yes,
Yep.
Monday the 2nd at 5 o'clock, we'll be here at the town office. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, none.
That's all right.
Okay, we're good, and we're going into executive session to discuss the work history of employees.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Dale, second by Tim. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Yeah, I figured that's not what it was anyway.
don't know, this crap,
How's it going, Chris?
How are you?
Yeah, probably.
Good enough.
Yeah.
If I'm any better, I'd cancel my health insurance.
Yeah.
What's going on?
How's it going?